grief is actually the medicine. And the grief is not about weeping, although there's, there's a certain amount of weeping involved, but that's just very preliminary. Grief is a way to make beauty so that the dead person or the lost person or the lost country or the lost way of life or the lost place in your life, like when you're a little kid, all of a sudden you're not, and it's like, whoa, this is a big deal, or even when you're born, got a whole chapter on that. And as you grow older, each stage of, shedding, it's like a huge tender thing, like a molting snake, you got to take a couple of weeks to get used to that. With humans, you got to take a couple of years, So all of these things, if they are recognized by a legitimately what I call intact society, then they will let the people do that. And not only that, but enforce the fact that once they have done that, they help others to get through theirs by even just giving them the space or whatever. There are a lot of cultures have many, many ways of doing this. They're quite integral. But when they won't do that, it's the fact that we're trying to get production is up, comfort is up. Just get to the next post and let's get everything before it all blows up anyway, instead of saying, no, let's stop. Let's make beauty with the loss that we have encountered and that we have, that has happened. Because you cannot have any loss whatsoever if you're not living. You only, like the old Sicilian saying, this stuff only happens to the living, so don't worry, it does, because when we are going along with what we believe, or going along believing something, or going along trying to love, and we either lose to death or we lose to the proclivity of life to be what it is. Things are rolling over all the time. I lost the most beautiful, best horse I ever had, 2 months ago. Still grieving for him, but I'm making beauty. I'm recording music in the studio and doing all this stuff to not to bring him back, but to make sure he keeps galloping on through all the eons, beyond me, man. So it's like, if you say that, oh, grief is something I've got to get over, grief is something I've got to medicate, take some more cannabis and some drugs so I don't feel it, then you defer this on to the next generation. It doesn't matter whether it's your blood or not. And then that becomes what they call war. War is deferred grief for millennia, and it just keeps coming up. And then war does the blood sacrifice to pay for the grief, not to pay it for exactly, but to fill the vacuum in order for people to keep tramping over the earth. So if on a totally little, just an amazing revolution of individual, if you just as a single person or two people or three or 10 or 20 can do something in order to, every time you feel the pain of loss or something, you can make a beauty from that energy. Then you're doing what grief is. And grief is, have you ever noticed like shellfish? They, like clams and oysters. Everybody likes oyster because they make pearls, but all these different clams, we make so many beads out of shell. We know there's all the different designs that they have, but they don't see them, they have eyes on the outside, but they don't see what they're making. They're making them for something bigger than themselves, man. And they're making them with a big tongue called a mantle, and literally using sort of the same thing we have in our tongue in order to lick these minerals onto the shells on the inside, and so that when they die, they leave these magnificent works of art in the ocean and fresh water. And so it's like us too. We are bound to make beauty in order to make all things live. And so grief is one of the signs that you've actually loved and that you've actually lived. It's not like, oh, damn, I wish I didn't have grief. You're going to, if you take the chance to love. You're going to, if you take the chance to live more than 2 days. You're going to, if you're going to be a human being, and animals too.